But the legendary creatures aren't just cards, they're icons. They've defined decks, shaped formats, and become the stars of Magic's biggest stories. Today, we're counting down the top 10 most iconic legendary creatures in Magic history. From angels to eldritch horrors, these are the legends every player remembers. Hi, I'm the Hero, and I do informative MTG content. Rankings, deck techs, lore deep dives, you name it. If you've been around Magic long enough, you probably built a deck around at least one of these creatures. So let's dive in and talk about the legends that left the biggest mark on the game. 10. The Dragon. The biggest, baddest dragon tribal commander of all time. The Dragon makes every dragon cheaper to cast and rewards you for swinging with your brood by letting you draw cards and cheat permanents into play. For anyone who loves dragon decks, and let's be honest, who doesn't, this is the commander that makes the dream come true. 9. Sliver. Queen Slivers are one of the most unique tribes in Magic, and Sliver Queen is their first and most iconic leader. Printed in Stronghold back in 1998, she was a 5-color powerhouse that spits out endless slivers. She's been on the reserve list for decades, which only adds to her mystique. For tribal fans, Sliver Queen is legendary royalty. 8. Jace, Vryn's Prodigy. Here's a card that told a story right on the battlefield. Jace starts as a fragile looter, but once your graveyard fills up, he transforms into Jace, Telepath Unbound, capturing the exact moment his Planeswalker Spark ignites. In Standard, he was everywhere, shaping blue decks and becoming one of the most memorable double-face cards ever printed. Few creatures embody both gameplay and story the way Jace Vryn's Prodigy does. 7. Serra Angel. For old school players, this was the creature. In Alpha, Serra Angel was a powerhouse, a 4/4 flyer that didn't tap to attack. Back then, she was the gold standard of white creatures, so iconic that she appeared on early promo art and inspired generations of players. She might seem tame now, but Serra Angel was the first real symbol of white strength in Magic. 6. Atraxa, Praetor's Voice. In Commander, Atraxa is everywhere. She's 4 colors, has a stack of abilities, and her proliferate at the end of every turn makes her a natural home for counters, planeswalkers, and effect strategies. And in the lore, she's a terrifying reminder of Phyrexia's reach. Atraxa isn't just powerful, she's the face of an era of Commander. 5. Urza, Lord High Artificer. For decades, players begged for an Urza card, and when we finally got one in Modern Horizons, it did not disappoint. Urza creates artifact tokens, turns every artifact you control into a Mox, and lets you spin the wheel to play cards for free. He immediately became one of the most busted commanders in the game, and finally gave Magic's most famous artificer a card worthy of his name. 4. Birds of Paradise. Not technically legendary, but come on, this is one of the most iconic creatures ever printed. Since Alpha, Birds of Paradise has been the ultimate mana fixer. 1 green mana, and suddenly you can play any color you need. It's been reprinted countless times, and it still shows up in decks decades later. The art, the design, the legacy, Birds of Paradise is unforgettable. 3rd, Primeval Titan, Prime Time. When this guy enters or attacks, you fetch any 2 lands. Not just basics, anything. That ability enabled archetypes like Valakut Ramp and Amulet Titan, and it was so powerful. Anytime a creature is so format warping it needs to be banned, you know it's earned its place in Magic history. 2. Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn, the face of the Eldrazi. Emrakul is cosmic horror incarnate. A 15-mana nightmare that gives you an extra turn, has protection from colored spells, and annihilates boards with Annihilator 6. In story, she literally reshaped Innistrad. In gameplay, she defined formats and terrified anyone who didn't have an answer. If there's one creature that represents pure, unstoppable endgame, it's Emrakul. 1. Nicol Bolas. One of the original Elder Dragons from Legends, Bolas grew from a card into Magic's ultimate villain. His creature forms, his planeswalker forms, his role in War of the Spark. He's been the big bad of the game for decades. When you think legendary creature, Bolas is the name that comes to mind. He's iconic, not just because of his power, but because he's the most recognizable villain Magic has ever created. And that's my list of the top 10 most iconic legendary creatures in Magic history. From Serra Angel paving the way in Alpha to Emrakul rewriting Innistrad, these are the creatures that defined eras of the game. Who's your favorite legendary creature? Did I leave one out you think deserves a spot? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this ranking, make sure to subscribe and check out my video on the top 10 most iconic planeswalkers of all time. I'm the hero. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.